Intel finally released their desktop GPUs, and RTX 30 series cards might be seeing yet another price increase. You've got to be kidding me. Let's talk about it. Before that, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never miss another video. Alright, so starting off with the potential RTX 30 series price increases once again. Now, I just covered that, these RTX 3080, 3070, and 3090 do seem to be going up in price, especially when you check, street prices such as listings on eBay. It started out with the RTX 3080, probably somewhere around $1,200. You could buy them from scalpers, then it went up to $1,300, then $1,400, and now it looks like it might actually be heading towards $1,500. And to make matters worse, you can't really buy them for $700 straight from, say, Nvidia or anyone else right now. It's hard enough just to find them, but it seems like the only ones you can even find if you're lucky enough are from AIBs, who unfortunately had to increase their prices due to the tariffs. And it looks like if this report from My Drivers turns out to be true, prices could be increasing even further. So not only will the street prices increase, but likely also the prices from AIBs. And if we go ahead and read what they had to say, now this was all in Chinese, and so I had to translate it, and it didn't translate perfectly, but essentially what I got out of it was that memory prices have been increasing, and supposedly after the Chinese New Year and everyone comes back to work, those prices are going to actually affect the prices of GPUs, because of course all these GPUs with 10 and up to 24 gigabytes of GDDR6X do rely on quite a bit of video memory. So if the memory prices go up, well, yes, the graphics card prices are going to go up as well. So unfortunately, I hope this ends up not being true, because I swear this is like the third time I've had to talk about prices increasing, and I really hope the prices start to actually drop at some time in the future. And I think that the only chance of that happening at this point is, if a couple of things happen. One, Bitcoin prices have to drop off significantly, and then two, we're going to have to see an end to tariffs, and we just don't know entirely when that's going to happen. I'm guessing that maybe Bitcoin prices may continue to drop over the next 2 to 3 months, and that may lead to less demand, which could lead to an abundance of supply at some point, or at least less constrained supply. But as for the tariffs, I honestly have no idea when those are going to clear up, and I also don't know if and when the memory prices are going to go back down, if it's true that they are going to go back up. So yeah, I really hope that this ends up not being true, but you know what? It does kind of make sense. And then moving on to the second piece of news I want to talk about here, and that's the fact that Intel finally released their desktop GPU. It's their XE graphics card that's based on the DG1, and this comes from legit reviews, and they say, quote, "These discrete graphics card based on the DG1 GPU were designed for use by system integrators on their systems. Intel let us know that the Iris Xe discrete add-in card is currently only compatible with 9th Gen Coffee Lake S and 10th Gen Comet Lake S processors on select chipset-based motherboards." They then go on to say in regards to the specs, quote, "Intel Iris Xe currently uses the DG1 GPU that's built in the 10nm SuperFin architecture. This GPU has 80 execution units and 640 shading units with a 30-watt TDP. This card features 4 GB of LPDDR4X memory running on a 128-bit bus that is good for 68 GB per second of memory bandwidth. The card is also PCIe Gen 4 ready, despite the fact that Intel is yet to release PCIe Gen 4 platforms just yet. So while it's good to see that Intel's finally getting some desktop GPUs onto the market, it's a bit unfortunate to see that they're locking it off to certain processors, and it also looks like, with only 4 GB of LPDDR4X memory, this is going to be, especially with that memory bandwidth of 68 gigabytes per second, it looks like this is going to be a fairly low-end discrete GPU. So this is definitely not the GPU you are looking for. However, I do have some news on a GPU that actually might interest you in terms of its raw performance. Now, over on Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of images of a supposed new Intel 7nm GPU that's just an amalgamation of some really cool, interesting technologies that Intel's been working on for a really long time here. And then I went over to an article on WCCF Tech to find an image which had all the segments labeled so we can see what exactly we're looking at here. Now, according to WCCF Tech, this GPU was built off of both their 7nm and 10nm process, so it looks like they're kind of building this GPU like Legos, and it's an HPC Xe GPU, so that means it's high performance computing. And if we take a look at the actual picture here that they have all of the different tiles labeled, we can see it has an Xe Link IO tile, has HBM2, it has in fact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 HBM2 tiles, so that could hold quite a bit of HBM RAM2 memory. And then it looks like we have some Intel 7nm compute dies, a total of, it looks like 16 of them. And then we also have what seems to be a total of 8 Rambo cache 10nm dies. At least that's what it looks like to me. So yeah, this is a really interesting design here, and this could be an extremely high performance GPU, just considering the amount of technology and memory we have all in one place. Now, this is the type of GPU, if you were disappointed with the one that was just released for, unfortunately, system integrators only, man, if we could get our hands on a GPU like this, now that would be interesting. Though, unfortunately, my guess is that, you know, as interesting and as powerful as this GPU could be, it's likely only going to be sold to the HPC market, so not gamers. It looks like probably more of a data center type of GPU. It probably has specific applications that it accelerates very, very well. So yeah, unfortunately, we're probably not going to get our hands on this type of a GPU, but hey, I think this type of stuff's really interesting, and I think that, you know, we really do need a new competitor such as Intel to step into the game right now, because if we take a look at AMD and Nvidia, with them relying on TSMC and Samsung to try and get GPUs out to the market right now and how constrained everything is, I would really like to see some GPUs being produced from Intel that are actually really competitive, because that could really help the GPU market right now, considering that, you know, if you look for Intel 10850Ks and other Intel processors, you can actually buy them, whereas if you look for Ryzen 5000 series processors, well, it's actually pretty difficult to buy them still. So yeah, I think that Intel may actually have the capacity to give us more GPUs if they actually chose to do that, though unfortunately it looks like we may still be a little bit of a ways off if Intel even is planning on producing some high performance GPUs for gamers. But hey, that's just what I think. Do you think that Intel is going to actually produce some high performance gaming GPUs, or do you think that they're going to stick to the HPC market? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to drop a like. Every time you do so, AMD and Nvidia get more stock. Also, if you want to see more, click here. You won't be disappointed.